Hello there, welcome back to my channel. Thank you for coming back, and as always thank you for the support. I really do appreciate that. So today I thought I would have a play with this Create a Card Entwined Roses, and what I'm going to try and do, I've bought in these other embossing folders, the wooden panels and the classic hessian, and I thought I would try and do a sort of fake marquetry sort of type thing. So let's pop those out of the way. So to start with, I'm going to need a 7-inch card blank. So as always, I'm going to bring in a piece of A3, and I'm just going to mark that at 14, purely because my trimmer only goes up to 12. I'm going to cut that down at 14, and then if I just swap out to the embossing blade, although I could do it on there, let me do it on the let's put that to the side a second. I'll just bring in my scoreboard. This is the adorable scoreboard, the mini one. I'm just going to score that at 7, and then because it's not big enough, because I've only got the mini, just turn it over and score it at 7 again. I'm just going to burnish that fold down. It should be more or less neat on both sides. If I bring my arm out, and I'll just take a little piece of that side just to neaten that edge up. Oops, put that under. Neaten that up. So if I just open that up, take it to the end, just take that little smidge off, and that should be perfectly square. So that's good. We'll pop that to the side. Right, we'll knock it on the floor for a second. Up in a second. Sorry about that, guys. And I'm going to score at 3.5. And I'm going to give that a good burnish down. Pop the scoreboard out of the way. And then I just rescue my trimmer. Falling out, so just bring that over, and then what I want to do is just pop that in at 3.5, and I'm just going to go from that bottom up. So this is going from that crease of the card up. So effectively I've got an easel card, or the start of an easel card, but I've also got it in 2 pieces, so that's not gone all the way through, so I'll just finish that off with my knife. So let's just grab that, and I've got the line to follow. Actually, I will just bring that ruler in. If things are falling on the floor this early in the video, you know it's gonna go. Go right down to that crease. Okay, so we've got our 2 pieces there. Okay, so again, just going to give those a good burnish down, and we will put that to the side. So I need to bring my trimmer back in, And I'm going to use some linen card. So I'm not going to worry about the actual card bits and layers itself for a moment. So what I want to do is cut this to 3, we'll go with 3 inches. I'll just check with this die. So it actually says this die is 2.5 inches. So I might go a little wider actually, but on the next piece. Okay, so for the next piece, so that one I've done at 3 inches, and I'll cut it a bit shorter in length in a second. And the next one I am going to cut at 2 3/4, and that will be by so our actual card is 7, so it's going to be by 6 3/4. I can cut this one at 6 3/4. Just check that. That was a little wider. So how much did we do that? We did that 2 3/4. And I need one more, which is going to be 3. I'm going to do this one at 3 1/4 by 6 3/4. So this is the actual size of the panel that I'm going to be using. So the 1 2 3 1/4. Okay, so these are just going to be filler bits that I'm going to be using. So I've used linen card just because it's already got that texture on there, and obviously we're going to add more texture in, but I wanted that texture there as well to start with. I don't know if you can sort of see that on the camera there. I'll try and pick it up. It's difficult for me to see on my screen whether it actually shows to you. I'm hoping it does. It may come out more when we ink. So because this is my main piece, I'm going to come in with Bordeaux. And if I grab a blending tool, and that will be around about the right colour, and I need another one. I'll go with that. Okay. And what I want to do is just completely cover this in the Bordeaux. So it's not so much as putting any kind of blend on there as putting colour on. So you can go as hard or as fast as you like. You could use your square blending tool for sort of more texture, more sort of getting that colour on there faster. And I am going quite deep on this because I want it to look like redwood when I finished. So it would be sort of, that's the kind of look that I'm going for. Let me just grab a piece of kitchen roll just so I don't get it all over my hands. There we go. Just put that over. And this is, out of all of these pieces, we are going to cut the same die 3 times and paper piece the bits back in. So So to a certain extent, your blending doesn't have to be fantastic, because it's not really, it's not like you're going to see the whole piece. I do want to get a nice bit of deep red on there, sort of looking for that sort of red cherry sort of effect. And just in case you haven't heard of marquetry, marquetry is sort of an old skill of cutting various pieces of thin woods into shapes and inlaying them to build a picture. Okay, so this picture would then normally be quite heavily varnished. We're going to triple emboss. Okay, so there's our piece number one. Pop that to the side. And take that one off. Oh, I've got a dot on there yet. That's why that's not. And then this second piece, I'm going to come in with honey pot. So we're sort of going for a, let me make sure I got it right way around, going for a sort of piney look with this one. So again, just exactly the same thing, just laying this colour down. And if you had, you know, you may have some other sort of browns in your stash. I'm just going with the inks that I've got in the water reactive. So, you know, obviously if you've got other colours, maybe you sort of distress inks, you know, there's all those colours will all come in. You're looking for your sort of shades to match up your sort of woods. If you've got a wood that's local to you, then you know you might want to use colours that reflect that. And I will be inking again once I've put it through the embossing folder, so that will give us even more sort of texture. Although you won't see as much of the texture when we emboss it, because it will go to a sort of flat. Okay, and then the last one, we want the, I've got Friar Brown. What have I got? I'll use that same dual brown. Let me just put that in. We might just get a bit of a weird colour for a second. It is darker, so it should pick up the dark colour. Let's try it on the back actually first of all. That's fine. Okay. So again, coming in all the way over. And if you wanted to, if you've got any of the hold and release sheets, you could cut it with that, and then ink over the top then when you know, so that you're not, well, I'm not wasting a lot of ink because it's all going on the piece, but you could specifically colour those bits. Don't know how it would work with the embossing though if you did it on the hold and release sheets first of all. So and I am going to be doing something they tell you not to do, which is to emboss and then die cut, because I'm going to emboss and ink and then die cut, so I don't mind if it goes a little flatter. In fact, if it does go a little flatter, it's going to help me when I come to emboss it anyway. So, okay, there's my Friar Brown. Okay, let me just pop that die out of the way. So the next thing I need is going to be this wooden panels folder. So I'm hoping it's going to be long enough to go in. Yes, it is. So I'm just going to pop these through. Let's make sure we get it the right way up. we go, so we'll pop that in, and it's just going to be the clear plates for this one. Okay, so we've got that coming through. And then this next piece, same thing. And just put that last one through. Okay, and then we went in with that fire brown last, so let's just bring it back, and I'm just going to gently just add some more colour over there, just to bring the embossing out a little bit more. And if you wanted to, you could go in with a darker colour, you know, maybe even a black. Or you could go with your metallic ink. Like I say, you're only going to see bits of it anyway, so you don't have to be too precious about it. Okay, so let me just pop that under there, and then we'll come in back with this honey pot, do the same again. Oops, turn that round. And obviously you could spend a lot more time on this than I'm doing. I feel like this is something you could, you know, really tone this with different colours, mix up your colours a little bit and get that colour really coming through. So, and then we'll go to our Bordeaux. That's there. You still do get a bit of texture from that linen coming through as well. If you don't like that, you can just do this on start this on a plain paper, a plain card, and then you won't have those sort of odd little lines coming through. I kind of do like that because I think it's, you know, if you look at wood, it sort of does have natural texture there as well. Obviously, depending on how the years have treated it. But if you don't like it, then just start with a plain piece of cardstock, and you won't have that. There we go. So I'm going to leave that there with that inking. So let's pop that out of the way, and then I'm going to come to the actual die itself. So let's grab that back, and I'm going to start with this one. So this is our main piece, so I want this to be central in it. So let's go round about there. And if I just grab a little bit of tape, just put that down. Might put a bit at the top as well, because the ink's wet it may not particularly stick very well. So what I might do is just put some tape onto something that's not quite as movable, i.e. the plate. Let's go with that. Okay, and then let's pop this one through. Just carefully peel that back. And it hasn't squashed the wood effect down too much, so I'm more than happy. Just be a little careful peeling it back, because with that card being a bit wet, you don't want to rip it. Could give it a little blast with your heat gun if you wanted to. So just going to clear this die out. We don't need any of the bits for here, so that is going to be fine. Okay, so for this second bit, which I'm going to use my piney one, I'm going to be putting this on a little bit of cut tidy, just to give it a bit of pressure, and it's also going to keep those pieces in one place, so i.e. they're not going to be flying off everywhere. Okay, so let's just grab my plates, and we'll pop that through. Over. I'm not so much bothered about the outside frame, because that's not what we're going to be using. Okay, so I'm going to keep those bits in there for a second and pop those plates out of the way. And I'm just going to bring in my trimmer. Put that there so I don't lose that. Put that there, I'll put that there. And I'm just going to cut myself a piece of, this is just copier paper, and I'm just going to cut that at, I do 3 inches by, let's go to 6.5. Let's see how that fits behind our piece. I don't want any of it to show through. All it's there for is just a support for me. So that was 3 by 6.5. Okay, and the first thing I'm going to do is lay these on top of each other so that they are exactly in the same place. And I'm going to come in with my knife, and I'm going to cut across that stem there, making sure the flower is lifted. I want that to be the same on both. It is. And then I'm going to come down this edge here. So it's just there, and I'm going to come across here and I'm going to come across here, trying to sort of round that a little bit. I'm going to come across there and there and there and also here. Obviously just hold on to any bits that look a bit fragile. Let's see if we can get this flower out nearly. So I also need to come across here by this leaf, so just going to cut there. That's that one. And then lastly we have this other flower at the bottom. So I'm going to come across there, come across there. I'm going to come down this straight edge, this straight edge here. And obviously if you want to do this with a ruler, then do it, that's no problem. There we go. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is come in with my dotty tape pen. Let's take the lid off, that's why I can't see the dots. Just going to come down very gently on all of these pieces. Okay, and then I'm just going to lay that over like so. I want these to fall into place where they should be. And then I'm going to bring in my tacky glue. So this was this big flower here. So we just have to find the right position so the cut lines should match up. Let's see. It should go like so. So if you want to do it with the dots, then absolutely not a problem. Just going to tap a bit of glue on. Oops. I'm just going to match up those cut lines so that it fits in exactly. It should be nice and flat. Okay, there's our first flower, like so. And then I think this one was our bottom one, wasn't it? So for this I think I'm just going to put it on my hand just for a bit of speed. Okay. They should fit in perfectly like so. And then again with this one, just put a bit more glue there. This one should be slightly easier because we've got that squared off piece. Okay, so there's a start. These bits of course you can keep because if you wanted to do more than one version of this, then you could be transferring them all over at the same time. What I would say is if you're doing 3 colours, just make sure you cut through these flowers at the same time, just to make sure that the cut lines are in the right place. Okay, Let's stick that one down. Okay, so now we can go back to this one, and I'm just going to poke these bits out, so bear with me. Okay, so we're ready for this last one. So again, I'm going to bring in this cut and tidy just to make sure these pieces all stay in the right place. Just going to pop those on there, down, and pop it through. Okay, so let's bring this one out carefully. And what we need to do, if we take the main piece out, there's nothing saying you can't use that for another card. And then what I'm going to do is just pop a little bit of glue behind this big piece here. And then I can use my pokey tool to grab that one out. Pop that in. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go with the bigger pieces first of all. This big piece here, this big piece here, into there. Just a question of popping them in and just making sure they are nice and flat. Okay, so I'm going to go with piece next, this piece there, this piece here, and you want to put enough glue on that it coats it, but not so much that it floods it, because otherwise you will see it coming over. So a bit, and towards this bit here. Actually, just need to pop a glue there. Oops. Oops. Just want to manipulate that into the right space. There we go. And then this bit, I'm just going to put some glue on the back of my hand just for those fronds of the actual, well, it's the centre of the flower, to be fair. I think if I was doing this again, I would ink the back piece rather than have it white. Probably would have been better if I'd have started off with a piece that was slightly coloured first of all, just to avoid these sort of white lines that I'm getting a little bit of. Okay, that's in there. Just pop some there. way down there as well. Just gently. And this leaf is just slightly in the wrong place, so we just move that up. We should be able to shut that in. Let's look at where that needs to go. Okay. So we want this middle bit here. So the bigger bits are the easier bits to do first. So I'm going to worry about those bits first of all. Like I say, definitely inking this piece beforehand would eliminate these sort of white lines. Okay, so let's just grab that piece there. Those pieces. This is one of those things that's quite time consuming, but just turn around the right way. Can be quite therapeutic. Okay, so let's go. I'm going to do now, so I'm going to poke out these little bits here, so I poke them onto my mat as I am doing them. Hopefully I shouldn't lose any. I might bring my sticky pickup tool in. For these little bits. Oops, try not to throw it everywhere. Needs to be. And I suspect it might be that piece. There. Okay, so I'm going to come back to this flower area now. So if I take this tape off and again just pop those bits out onto my mat as they are, and I should be able to just pick them up, pop them in. Piece that goes into there. Let's sort of see it all coming together. Okay, so I seem to not have this bit here. So again, just coming in Give that a good little press down. There we go. Okay, so now we can come a little bit further up. So if I grab that bit, that bit, that bit, that bit, and those two bits. I've not got that bit yet, so I've got that bit, got that bit, and I've got that bit. So let's pop those in ready. This sticky pickup tool is quite good for these sort of things, not only just for gems but anything you've got to pick up that's quite small and put in a place. If you've got your tweezers, you might be someone that can do the tweezers really easy. It's just decided to go down in the wrong place. There we go, gotcha. This bit into there. So we've got our flower. Take those bits out. Nearly there, guys. And got this bit here, a bit there and a bit there. So in there, nearly done. So let's do this big bit. And I kind of think the tacky glue is probably going to be your best friend on this one, just purely because I don't think you'd be able to put the dots on. You possibly, if you had some sticky back sheets and you put that on beforehand, but I just think unless you're going to reuse the waste, it's a lot of stickiness to be covering, isn't it? It's quite a sheet, but it would be a lot quicker, I have to be honest. Okay, so let's just do, I think these are these bits here. The right way. Okay. These go in there. Do a little corner piece, so you go in there. Then you are going in there, I believe. Okay, so 3 pieces left. We've got 3 pieces in here, which is good. 1, 2, and a little bit hide in there. Okay. Oops, came out. There we go. Okay, labour of love. It's one of those things you either love doing this sort of thing or you hate it. I don't mind it, so yeah, it's one of those things. So like I say, it probably would be better if you went with either the linen card behind, so you didn't get so many of these little white lines. I don't think there is any way I can get rid of them. The only thing I can think of is if I get a, bear with me 2 seconds. Okay, so I don't think there's any way that I'm going to be able to get rid of that successfully. I did think maybe about using one of the aqua pens and just with a little paintbrush going in there, but I just don't want to. The only colour I've got in the aqua pen is a bolder and it seems more like a greeny brown. I suppose I could try with a little bit of the, let's see what I would work out like. So I put a little bit of, that was the Friar Brown on there, and then if I grab a little bit of water, probably this brush is going to be a little thicker for what I want to do. Oh, but it's working. Oh, there we go, we've got a fix. Just going to go around those edges a little bit there. And it's not all of them that are noticeable really, it's just a couple where it's moved over a little bit. Definitely not the right brush to use, but okay, I'm going to leave it there because it's done the worst bits of it, so she says, and then she goes back in. Yeah, but I would definitely go behind with a bit of that linen paper or something that you'd inked beforehand, so something maybe we inked with the cherry, just to hide any of those spaces, but for now I am happy with that. So let me pop these just out of the way a second, and I'm going to bring in a sheet of paper, and I'm also going to bring in, okay, so I just swapped that sheet out for an A4 piece. Got some clear embossing powder. I've got my heat tool, and I also need my sticky ink. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'll put that under there just for a second. I'm going to go over the whole thing with this ink. That all down. And the reason I'm doing this is if you see any sort of traditional marquetry, what you will notice is that it's always sort of got a lovely gloss polished finish, so you know it would be it's not laminated, but varnished, I think is the word I'm looking for. Okay, so I'm just going to pop that down. I can see that bit's come up, so I'm hoping that's not going to interfere. Let me just put that to the side. Put this back into my pot for the next one. Okay, I will just bring in heat-proof mat just to protect my mat underneath. Just want to make sure that stays down. Okay, here we go. So this will take a minute or so just to get up to temperature. Just a pokey tool handy just in case. I don't know if you'll be able to pick it up on the camera, but it should just suddenly, you can see down here, it's just starting to melt. And the trick is not to waft it, but to chase it so that it does. You can see it's starting to go. And it's going to take more than one coat because obviously it's embossed. But we want it to be like a tile, so quite similar to the one that I did for with the poinsettia over the Christmas time. I know a lot of people have watched that video. I think it's one of my videos that's been most watched. Picking up the last of these powders. Just give that a little second just to cool down, and then I can come back in. And don't worry about this all like crinkling up, because once we stick it down it's going to be nice and flat. Okay, then last one, just bring it back in one more time, and just the same again, just all over. It's just making sure you've covered it all more than anything else. Okay. Just put that powder all over again. Oops. If this was a smaller piece and you were triple embossing it, you probably would get away with doing it. Like if it's a little sentiment or something, you would be able to triple emboss it all in one go, because you would melt it and then add more powder on, and then, you know, melt it. But because this is a larger piece, that's why I've been letting it cool down in between and just adding more ink. Same effect, but just with a smaller project. You wouldn't have to do it the same way. You wouldn't have to use your clear ink each time. I'm just chasing it and melting it all. You can see how glossy it is. It's not melted. You can see a bit that's not quite gone. Just follow your tool over it till it's gone. There we go. So I think that's about as good as I'm going to get it. So let's pop that out of the way. And I'm going to leave that to cool down a second, just while I clear this little bit away. Okay, bear with me. Right, okay, so I'm going to come back to our actual card now, and we're going to start to build that up. Okay, so if I bring in my trimmer, okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is the panel for our bit of marquetry to sit on. So this needs to be exactly the same as the card itself. So it's going to be 3.5. Open that out. So 3.5 by 7. Okay, so that one is going to fit on like so. So this bit is going to be stood up. Okay. I'm not going to do a panel to sit up on this one because I want the differential between them. So that's going to be a lower piece. So that's as it is. Okay. Let me pop that white card out of the way. And I decided I was going to use this sort of turquoise, which was from the Frosty and Bright collection. So for our next layer down on this panel here, that's going to be 2 notches under 3.5 by 2 notches under 7. And I'm hoping, if I've cut it right, this should fit quite nicely onto there, and it does. Okay, so few. And then I need another piece that is 2 notches under 3.5 by 2 notches under 3.5, and that is going to go on our side panel here. I need piece to print my sentiment out, so I'm going to go 3.25 by 3.25, or shall I do this in the linen? No, scrap that. So I'm going to use this cream card, so the linen card. I'm going to use the back of it because it is a little flatter, so it's just going to be easier to print onto or to stamp onto. So that's going to be 3.25. So we've got our white, we've got our turquoise, and then we will have our cream. And I'm probably going to ink around the corners on that as well. I need another piece of this turquoise. I'll just grab one more piece. Hoping there's more than one piece in here, otherwise I'll have to open the other pack. There we go. And this is going to be for our base. So that needs to be 2 notches under the 7 by 2 notches under the 7. So that should fit. Let's move away a second. That should fit onto there quite nicely. Just maybe the back is, we did trim that little bit off the back, didn't we? Okay, so just because mine is a little shorter, just going to take another little slither off just to get that right. So that's perfect. Okay, and then I want the linen card because I am going to emboss that hessian texture onto this. So I'm going to go 6 3/4, and I normally would do 6 3/4 square, but just because I know I've taken that bit off, I'm going to go to 6.5. I'm just going to check that fits nicely. Take a little bit more off. Let's try that one. I'll take a little bit of that. I think I will be happy. Let's see. And that should be fine. Yeah, happy with that. And then lastly I need a little bit, so I want my stopper, so I want that can be, I'm gonna go 2 notches under the 7. Let's see, how wide is that? So that is just under 1.5. So if we go 4 notches under the 7 with this little piece, if we take that to that's very straight, so let's try there. I might have to get a bigger piece. I'm not great at small cutting small pieces. I can live with that. It's not bad. Okay, so that is enough to be going on with. So let us do, let's put those to the side. So this one, I want to bring in that hessian texture, just for you know, I didn't want to do the wood again. I wanted something a little bit different, and I thought this is another sort of natural texture, and that should be quite nice. So let's pop that in there, and it's not going to cover all of this square, so but that's where my border is going to come in anyway. So I'm just going to pop that in 3/4 of the way across. So let's grab my plate and my other plate and pop that through. And then what I'm going to do is just move that up around about there and pop that back through. I guess they had planned for my border to go there anyway, so it doesn't matter if it's a noticeable joint. Let's have a little look. Yeah, so I've just got that line there, but by the time we've put that on and put our border on, we should be fine. Okay, so let's see, let's put that away. Do I want to ink that or do I not? I'm thinking I probably don't. So we've got the cream there and we've got the cream on the side. No, I am going to ink just around the edges, and then with one of the browns. Now, which brown do I want to use? Let's have a little look. I don't think I want to go with the dark one. I think I might go with the Bordeaux. Let's just go around the edges with a little bit of Bordeaux, just to bring the woody red tones through. Like I say, it's going to be broken up by our border, but I am keeping my border with this cream colour. So you've heard me say a million times, I am not the best inker in the world. Just bring that in a little bit. Okay, I'm going to pop that to the side. I think we can start to assemble to a certain extent. So I'm going to bring in my all-purpose glue. And I'm going to start with, let's see, is it this one? So start with my turquoise first of all. And the reason why I decided to go with the turquoise is just because it's one of those sort of, it's quite a neutral colour, it could be male or female. So that's why I decided to go with that. Okay. I think that needs to be more towards the back. Or where we have that more towards the front. I think we will have that sort of there, and then that can be the start of our border. So I'm just thinking about where my border is going to go to keep these up. So I'm thinking it's probably going to be, if I put that near the back, then it's going to be quite upright. So I'm thinking it's probably going to need to go around about there. So for this piece, what I'm going to do, just because we've crinkled it up with the heat and everything, I am going to use some super sticky red tape on there, as well as my all-purpose. So I just want to make sure we get that down as flat as possible. Oops, a bit sticky there. Just use my knife to cut that, just because that's the hand. And I'm just going to get that good press down. Just getting this red liner tape off. Just notice that that is lifting a little bit there, so pop a little bit of glue there. That's just that under layer of paper we put on just to get ourselves started. So then I'm going to come in with this all-purpose glue all the way over. I'm just going to pop that to there. There we go. And then this is going to go onto our white backing piece, and put that in the middle like our normal layer. Still bits of embossing powder I can feel on my mat. I'm just going to give that a good press down. Okay. A little bit of glue there just because I can see it lifting, so just give that a second. Okay, and then I'm just going to put my purpose glue on the back of there. Sorry, strings again. And then this piece is just going to sit flush on there. You just have to make sure you only glue half of it, otherwise it won't go up and sit flat like you want it to. Okay, so we can leave that for a second because we need to do our stamping on there. I am going to, no I'm not, because there's something else I want to do with that as well. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is just grab a stamp and the stamping press. Okay, so I changed my mind a little bit on the stamping and I decided to go with this little old penny black die cut, thank you. Okay, so I'm going to bring in that Bordeaux and I'm just going to go around the edges, so I'm not inking this one as such, but just going to bring, actually let's do it the right way around, that might help. Honestly, sometimes, so I'm just inking those little edges, just going to tie it all together. Okay, that's there, and then bring in my purpose, put that on, and then I'm going to have to just put some glue on the back of my hand again because this is really filigree. I think, and then the only reason I've used this one is because I haven't got a thank you die from Crafters Companion, not yet anyway. Okay, so this one we can pop onto this edge here, just like that. And then we're going to come to this one. So I've got these blending filaments. Don't ask me where they came from. They're just been in my one of my drawers for a while. And I'm going to bring in a little bit of this red liner tape. Just pop that onto there. Give it a really good burnish down. And the reason why I've gone for this is if I had some sort of raffia, something like that, I would use that sort of natural. But out of all the things that I've got, this is probably the closest to something natural, even though it's got a tiny bit of glitter in it. I'm hoping you're not really going to see so much of the glitter once it is on. But I just want a bit of interest. And the other thing I'm going to do with this card as well, just to finish it, we're nearly there, is going to be just to cut a couple of dragonflies. So, because I think they're sort of one of those things that can be for either sex. So, it doesn't have to be for a boy or a girl. So this is just being a bit difficult. Okay. So I'm just going to pop that in. Trim that down. And just gonna so I'm not doing anything particular with it. Don't really want it to bend, but let's cut it there. Alright, I might have to start again because that's coming done. Okay. And I am sort of deliberately crossing them over just to add a little bit of pattern. That onto there. Let's just use this bit of tape for a second to keep that in place. And then I'll just put a little bit of red liner tape on. Here we go. Oh, that ain't going anywhere. So if I trim that to there, trim that to there. Let's have a look at the other side. Yeah, that's fine. I'm just going to take this back off if I can. Got no nails to grab anything at the moment. And then I'm just going to put some all-purpose glue. Just making sure I've caught some of those fibres in. Again, I've not inked this one, I've not inked that purposely. Okay, so for this we are going to need some decent size foam pads. So the Crafters Companion ones are going to be the way to go, 3mm. Nice and chunky. Oh, a couple more there. Might as well give that a bit of stability. I'm really finished, guys, honestly. Sorry, this one's probably quite a long one. And what I may do is trim some bits out and just put bits on the screen. Maybe if it's over an hour, I might not have all of the tripping and embossing in. because once you've seen it once, you've seen it, haven't you? Okay, and then this is just going to go across where we had that join. Okay, so that's where we're at the moment. Okay, that fits quite nicely behind there. And then I'm just going to bring in a bit more of that black I found. And I've got these dainty dragonflies. You can see the last time I used this, it was with the foil flakes. And just cut this other piece down a little bit. So I'll do 3 of these, and then I will just add a couple of gems. So got that. That, put that through. Oops. Just carefully pop that one out. Oops. There we go, put that one. Take the sticky off, that might help. Just poke those last bits. Okay, and then we just pop that one on and pop him through. So just gonna pop his little wings up, give him a little bit of a shape, and put some tacky glue on my hand because pretty much got a good covering on my hand now anyway. And I'll pop that on there like so. And again, I'm just gluing the bodies on here, so we'll pop him going that way, and then we've got the big one, and these are lovely cut out of something you foiled. I suppose they would be nice if you cut them out of white and did them with your mirror card, not mirror, your glitter. So where do we want to put this one? Put him there, I think. Okay, so just going to grab some quick gems, just because it's a card without any gems. Just, I think, maybe 2 on this side. 1, 2, 1, and I'm going to go with these big ones, I think. And these are the clear ones, the dewdrop ones. Okay, so that's the card finished. Probably not the best card I've ever made, I have to be honest with you, but it is a technique, and you know, I just wanted to try it, especially with that marquetry look. I did think it might sort of suit those flowers quite nicely. Probably would change these papers out a little bit, maybe that's a bit samey, but it's a, you know, I'd still send it to someone, put it that way. It's not terrible. and you know, I enjoyed having a little play just to see what that would come out like. But that's it for today. So thank you for staying with me to the end if you did. Next time will be hunky dory. I'm going to be using one of their new books next time. I quite fancy maybe using the peacock one. And then after that, when we come back to Crafters Companion, I'm going to come back with another sort of white on white card with the heritage dies is what I'm playing with at the moment. So I'm going to bring a card with that when I come back with Crafters Companion after that. But thank you for watching. As always, thank you for your support. I really do appreciate it. Take care of yourselves till next time. Bye bye.